All right. I'm introduction for everybody. So my name is Jake. I'm one of the owners of Coug Connect. Dustin is another one of the owners of Coug Connect. And if you don't know a little bit about us, a couple months back we were asked by some of the players who were over at my house to eat to start an NIL company to create more opportunities for players to make some money. And this is kind of how Coug Connect, it's a long story, but that's kind of how Coug Connect was born. So it all came from the players wanting to have more opportunities to interact with fans on the NIL platform, and so that's kind of what we created here. So we really appreciate you as the fans supporting this. We have a website, cougconnect.com, and on that website you can become a subscriber. It's $10 a month, and that subscriber money, a large percentage of it goes to these players for events like this, but also for their interviews. We do a weekly interview, exclusive interview with the player. They teach plays on those interviews. They talk about what's going on with the team. They talk about schematically what's changing the game. If you're a BYU football fan, we've had 2 basketball players, well, 3 if you count Shaylee. She's not been edited and put on the site yet. That's why you got to Missionary Mall. Like, they not look this nice. We give a big hand to Missionary Mall. They really care about making people feel comfortable and prepared to go on missions. That's kind of like one of their mission statements, I would say, and they do a really good job with it. We've had these guys in, we got them swagged up with some missionary stuff. You can see Tyler, you can see Logan, even Keenan. Got some of the stuff on. And it's not like the missionary stuff I wore when I went on my mission. Like, I was looking at like how stretchy and comfortable that stuff was, and I was like pretty jealous because I was in Dallas, Texas, and it was very hot all the time, and I didn't have stretchy, comfortable clothes. So if you're thinking of going on a mission, I highly recommend get out and see their stuff. They've got new stuff, flex suit stuff, cool stuff. Like, I wish I had when I was on a mission. Really cool stuff with that. This event is really to get back, but also I love my mission every day of it. One of the reasons I loved it so much, Dad would have wanted to have Logan. So we press it. So we'll quickly go down the line. We'll start with Logan. A little about himself. Down everyone that, and then we'll start. Tyler. Call of Duty. Call of Duty. Anything like that. But we'll go ahead and turn the title over to Logan. Give them a hand. Good job, guys.
So I'm Logan P. I served in Vancouver, Washington. I'm on a PO mission.
I'm Lopini. I served during Independence mission. But yeah, I like saying I loved it. The special place for a lot of different reasons. You know, a lot of church history there, so it's cool just to be around the church. Members there are awesome.
Yep, I'm Keenan Peely. I served in Orlando, Florida. Served the ILD. But I was super grateful to be called there. At first, so I got my mission call back in 20. I remember. But My brother served in Jacksonville, Florida. So as I was up my anything besides Florida got called Orlando. So that was cool. But you know, it was super great experience. Something I'll take for as you know, those have been Florida super hot. Not a plug or anything, but wish I had those Missionary Mall shirts that Jim was talking about. Super flexy, stretchy. I was drenched in sweat about half my mission because it was just raining, pouring, and then the rain will stop, and it's super sunny, 100 degrees, and then it's raining, pouring as we're biking. But it was a super good experience, and I was super grateful for it.
So I'm Tyler Batty. I served in two missions in Spain. I served in the Malaga mission for a year, and then in the Madrid mission for a year. That was from 2017 to 2019. And kind of like these guys said, yeah, I wouldn't trade a day of it for anything. So mission meant a lot to me, and Spain was different, you know, for sure. But taught me a lot, learned a lot. Like I said, I loved it. So.
Yes, definitely. I think, at least for me, so I think I've had a different experience than what these three have had. That was during COVID around that time. So during like first 6 to 8 months, probably around that time was COVID was happening. That first 6 weeks, I was in the MTC, so I was doing online MTC for about 6 weeks, and training to go to Samoa. So I'm learning the language, doing all that. End up going to Vancouver, Washington, and was able to spend my time there. And during COVID, it was kind of a weird situation just because they all tracked, they go door to door, they do all these things, and that's all the experiences that I've heard from my brothers there saying, man, can't wait till you get that first rejection out the door. And I'm like, never got it. So, but I definitely enjoyed my mission where I was able to share the gospel in multiple ways. I mean, even though it was during COVID, I was able to do social media work, a lot of service, all of these things that we kind of focused on, and we kind of never even went back to doing door to door, at least in my mission. Kind of stayed along the route of doing social media, working with the members, working with ward leadership, and just serving. Because that's the general idea of a mission. It's not necessarily just teaching lessons or teaching the restoration. It's serving. It's serving others and allowing that kindness and that love to be able to be. I've definitely been to learn that on my mission. At first, I don't think I was full go to go on a mission before my high school year, but luckily I had my example. They were able to lift me, and I was able to develop that step, and I wouldn't trade it. Best time of my life. Develop a lot of things, develop traits I wouldn't have developed if I just countless things that I've learned. I think the biggest thing is just doing the simple things of growing our own testimony. That's one of the that I learned on the mission. Book of Mormon in Alma, he's talking to the Abraham life, and talks about what converted him. Gospel said that fasting and praying that he was able to gain. About his conversion, he was totally going against the church, telling God is not real, telling people that God, angel appeared him to sleep, received remission of his sins, and able to. But he never included that in his strongholds. Say that through fasting those little things, testimony. And I think that's what I've developed. I've able to gain habits from going to church. Biggest moment. It continues on after the mission. Need to see opportunity. Found that someone at work. I've definitely come to know that this gospel is to have that test Christ.
I enjoyed for my mission. I think just the area that I was in. Thought but I'll share this. My first area I got to, I don't really know. I mean, my trainer was taking me around, and we're both brand new to the area. And we went to this one house, and there's like a lot of. For some reason, the mom let us happen to be a part of the what was the RLES. They're part. So there's that, and then there's a ton of like restoration branches out there in Independence. It's just interesting talking to someone who believed in the book, like certain sections of the Doctrine and Covenants. It was cool to be able to teach straight to their testimony, how like differ. And the authority problem that they had with it. I just remember teach God, like, for like didn't know about him, and then I get that, and then I just realized from there I was like, every single person is how they got. We have to mess. I love them. You have to learn who they are first, right? Like. Whatever you want, you and let are there. So that became like one of my special connecting with. Talking about questions of. That was something I wouldn't trade. Just people on the level. That goes for like companions. Yeah, that's probably my favorite thing.
Yeah, for me, I think my mission. So, maybe not applicable to you guys, but really, when I was deciding to serve a mission, it was really relying on my parents' testimony and encouragement to serve a mission. I actually had probably very little motivation myself to do it if it was all on my choice. But a cool lesson that I learned from it, and by taking the leap to serve a mission, because deep down I knew I needed to, was that the Lord blessed me in many different ways. And I think sometimes, and I always feel for those kids and those boys and sometimes girls who are wondering if they should serve a mission, and then I'm like, for me it was a big leap of faith. I saw my brother do it, saw how cool it was for him, and the examples my parents set forth. But for me it was a pretty cool experience to just go serve a mission and prep for it, all on a leap of faith. That was more, my story, why I served a mission, and it completely changed my life, and I encourage it to everyone always when they ask me about my mission, because I was so grateful I did it. My second story and I learned it early in my mission. And I'll say this is my insight or one of my biggest takeaways, honestly, from the mission. So I got into the mission, and I was hoping for some cool blessings from my like stake president and other people who were like helping me prep for the mission. But one common theme in all my blessings and things I was looking at was that I needed to serve my companion, which was super weird for me because I was like, well, let me meet the crazy guy and teach him the gospel and hear all these cool stories. All my stuff was, love your companion, find a way to put him first, and do those things. So right away, right in the mission field, I don't know how it was for them, but it was really, really tough being with someone for 24 hours of the day over and over again and not having a break. That was hard. That was my biggest hard thing. And I remember really, really struggling with it at the beginning of my mission. Because I'm like, when I commit something, I commit like 110%. So if mission president or someone's asking me, you gotta wake up at this time, do this, I gotta do it to the T, and I gotta go all day till I gotta come home at 9:30 or 9 o'clock. And like that's just how I run. And then you come to find out, like, companions, everyone has different belief, which is okay, and has different type of work. And that was really hard for me to find a common ground. But the cool story that I took away from my mission was there's this couple every Sunday that we visited. It was they were both Down syndrome, but we loved them. We that's what I said. We visited every Sunday because we loved those two because they knew how to treat each other with love. So I remember one Sunday I was like struggling. I'm like, bless me with the Spirit, but I'm having a hard time feeling the Spirit because I look over and I'm like, oh, this guy doesn't want to be out here. You know what I mean? And we go to their house and they're like, hey, we want to share you guys something from this book we're reading. And they open up this book, and it said, what is it? Oh, it is better to have your wife on your team rather than on your back. And I've always remembered that. I was like, super good point. And it's funny because in the mission you'll learn to work with people and find common ground, and working as a team with the Spirit as a missionary is like, doors and blessings are just open as you're doing that. And it's funny I say that they share that quote with me because now I'm thinking of my wife, and I feel like she's carrying a grown man on her back every day. But that was a super big lesson for me, I think, that I took away from the mission was, finding common ground, common relationship in the mission. Like Pini was talking about, getting to know that person, where they're coming from, and you can learn to love anyone and everything and to be a team. That's fine.
My mission was awesome as well. Like I said before, and like these guys have kind of summed up. I wasn't super keen on the idea of a mission. I think a lot of times we have, as kids and as adults, we have other priorities sometimes that can get in the way of what's important. And so in high school, I was just worried about having fun, hanging out, playing football, doing whatever. And a mission wasn't really a priority. And so, senior year comes around, and now it's time to go on a mission. And I really thank my parents as well, just for kind of pushing me and nudging me and just giving me the opportunity to decide for myself whether or not I wanted to serve. That's I think one of the biggest, the biggest first lesson for me, kind of like Keenan was saying, was that anytime we put God first in our life, he'll take care of the rest. And I think that's one of the earliest things I learned was just the moment I decided to kind of jump, trust, and put God first, no matter the outcome. With conference, we just had a couple talks on the cosmic vending machine, right? You know, putting in a token and thinking that we can just choose a blessing. But I think that was one of the coolest parts of my mission, was just realizing no matter the situation, we trust God. Things are going to come out a lot better than we imagined. While I was out on my mission in Spain, it was, you know, a lot of fun, but also, you know, pretty tough. How many people have served missions here? How many people have served missions formerly? Okay. You guys know how it is. You go out and it's a completely different place. You know, it's definitely not your hometown. It's not anything you're familiar with. For those who went foreign or you know had to learn a language, you're lost. And that's where I was. I was over in Spain and thousands of miles away from my family, and I was like, what am I doing? You know. Like you have those questions, you really do. So just to scare you guys that haven't gone on a mission yet, you're gonna be out there and you're gonna be like, what am I doing? I'm just as lost as I could be. And so I was. There were a lot of times that, you know, during that first 6 months of my mission where I didn't know what I was doing out there. I had taken that leap and I still didn't know what I was doing. And I remember I was about 6 months into my mission, and I was just like, man, I just feel like I'm not progressing. I'm not doing anything. I'm out here trying to speak with people who don't really want to talk to me, you know, every day. And you just, like I said, you just feel pointless. You feel, you know, useless. I mean, quite frankly, you don't want to be there, you know. And I think that's another big takeaway, is just being able to overcome adversity when it really hits and you don't know what to do and you know what you're doing, your purpose is, to just kind of be able to keep pushing. And I'm trying to remember where what scripture it is right now. I'm a little rusty. So I've been home off my mission 3 years, so my scripture memorization has definitely declined. You know, playbook, you know, kind of swap. No, I'm just kidding. But it says, how does it go? It talks about the importance of the worth of souls, right? And how great will be, like, the joy if you bring just one soul unto me. And so in Spain, it's all Catholic. So Spain itself is like 97% Catholic. And up until the 80s, they had a dictator. And so everybody was Catholic by law. So there, you didn't get to have a choice. You were Catholic or Catholic. And so people were pretty sick of religion, you know. They get sick of religion and they don't want to talk about it. And so I had a couple, you know, good buddies on the mission that came home without baptizing anyone, you know, and they were bummed. They would get down on themselves. And, you know, anytime I would talk to one of them, or I would think about that scripture, you know, how great will be your joy if you bring, you know, but one soul unto me. I always had to remember that one soul didn't have to be someone else. That could be you, and that's where it needs to start. And that's the biggest lesson I learned on my mission, was just developing that relationship with God, and it's not something that comes easy. But like it says, how great will be your joy if it's just one person, even if that person's yourself. So, yeah, those are just a couple things from my mission that I hope you guys can take some away from.
Thank you. So Keenan, you're really good at directing traffic, where you play Mike. So we're gonna let you kind of field these questions. Kind of, there's two hands at a time. Pick one and come back to them. But we'll go ahead and turn it over to Q&A. Question, Steve.
Two things. When you guys answer, could you repeat the question they ask?
Sure.
Just because that way the people streaming can hear it, because they won't hear it from out there.
Okay.
And then also, if you want to like just cheat whatever microphone's closest to you, a little closer to you when you're answering, that'd be
Okay.
good.
Okay. So open up for Q&A. Keenan, we'll let you kind of run this show here.
Going to the new missionary. Yep.
So, for each of you, now I heard a little bit about you when, and what I want to ask is kind of a little more vulnerable. Like, if you look at your old selves, right, before you went to serve a mission, and which takes a little bit of self-honesty, a little reflection. What part of you changed the most? And so we heard from you in terms of, just charity towards others that you don't want to necessarily give charity to, right? That it wasn't kind of a natural thing, but maybe for each of you, as you look back, and because when you're young, the nature is to be selfish, and so I guess ultimately it's like when you look at how you're refined from your mission, what's the biggest change that you guys felt like you went through personally? For sure.
Did you want everyone to answer, or?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with Logan. Can you repeat it?
Thinks he can tell me what to do.
Good call.
So the question he asked was, what's the biggest change we kind of saw in ourselves, I guess, yeah. For me, I'd say the biggest change is probably just being how much potential I have, or even all of us, how much potential we have in being close with the Spirit and just being in tune with the Spirit. Because on the mission, you're 24/7, you're serving the Lord, you're teaching and walking around and serving others. But by doing that, you kind of have to continue to stay worthy and be able to have that Spirit to be with you. And when you do put in that 100% and when you are doing what you're supposed to, you can see the difference that there is when you have the Spirit to be with you, and that when you are in tune with it, you're able to recognize more promptings or opportunities in your experiences and in life. And I think that's one of the biggest things of how close I am and how I can continue to grow that relationship with my Heavenly Father and be able to have His Spirit to be with me. So,
For me, the biggest change I feel like I had was just being more genuine, as a person, being more honest with who I was and with other people. I think I thought I had a lot of friends when I was in high school, but you kind of realize what it really means to care about somebody, be a real friend on a mission. And I was I only have a few that I can think of, that I trust like that, and then I connect with like that. So I guess just being more genuine and just understanding things about myself and about others a little bit better is what changed about me a lot.
Yeah, for me, it was I'd probably say willingness was the biggest change from me prior mission and during mission. Like I said, I was at church every Sunday. I was at Mutual every Thursday, Wednesday, and I was at everything. I was taking great steps of faith. I read my scriptures sometimes, not as much as I should have. But I think the cool part was that willingness. It turned into things that I really wanted to do and was willing to sacrifice whatever to do them. I think was for me.
Yeah, that's a good question. A deep one to start off with, I would say. But I think the biggest thing that changed for me on my mission, I think there's two things. One was to just kind of lighten up, and it took me a year and a half to figure that out on my mission, that you didn't have to take everything literal and super seriously. You could actually have fun, while you were preaching the gospel. It took me a while to figure that out, a couple companions to actually realize that, you can do the right stuff and still have fun and still enjoy it. That was a big realization for me. I think the other thing that really changed for me the most was relationships and how you treat people. I think just studying the Savior every day makes you realize how short we fall sometimes, and how stupid you are in high school, and the mistakes you make, and the people you hurt, and so I'd say definitely those two things.
Yep.
Oh yeah. So the question was, what was one thing you learned on your mission that you wish you learned sooner in life, right? Shoot, everything. Everything. I feel like, yeah. Well, you learn how to like take care of yourself. Obviously, you get like a really special, where you develop a relationship with the Savior that I feel like I never had before that. And then just like, yeah, just learning how to take care of yourself, prioritize your time, plan, all that stuff like that. Yeah, I would have been lost without that. If I didn't serve a mission, honestly, I would have been pretty off.
Good question. Do you have a question? Oh, okay.
Where did you want to go on a mission before you got called to go on a mission?
You want all of them to answer too, right?
Okay. You want to start it?
I'll start, yeah. So the question was, where did we want to go before we got called? For me, I wanted to either go to Italy, because I thought Italy was cool, or Russia, because it's pretty much just like service missions. So you get to just work out, eat, and help people. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was wanting to serve where my brother actually got called Samoa. That was one of mine. But then another, what I said, I can't remember who I told it to, but I would tell people I just wanted to go where the craziest people were. That's where I wanted to be. So I was like,
I wanted to serve in New Zealand when I was opening my call and possibly speak Tongan, but I didn't get that. Missouri independence.
I wanted to serve in Samoa. That was that was my dream, but fell short of it. So I went to Vancouver, Washington, stopped halfway. So, but it was good experience. But I would have definitely enjoyed going somewhere in the islands. That totally would have loved it. So.
What's the worst thing you ate on your mission? From everybody.
okay, worst thing.
Repeat it.
Is anyone
Repeat the
ready?
question.
What is the worst thing you ate on your mission?
Pig nose, like the actual snout, like cartilage. Yeah. They every part of the pig in Spain, just heads up. It was edible.
I don't. I had some good food. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, the craziest thing was like goat curry, but I mean that was good. I thought that was pretty good food. So.
I have a thing. I don't want to tell a story because I love the guys that did it to us, but there's like these two old men who are in wheelchairs that we would go eat with a lot, and they made food for us one time, and it was I think it's called hospital bracelet soup. Because his band was in one of our soups. We're like, oh, we're like, no. All of a sudden we got full, but yeah, that's probably the craziest thing that happened. Yeah, love those guys though. So yeah, if you're watching.
I'm having a hard time trying to think. I don't know much foods that I don't like. That's the problem.
Well, I mean, you're in the South. They got great food.
Yeah. I mean, I ate gator. I don't know if that is looked at as bad, but it was super good.
So you guys all were obviously obviously amazing football players even before you were going out on the missions. So this is kind of a two-part question. What about being athletes and football players do you think helped you be better missionaries? And now that you're all returned missionaries, what about being returned missionaries made you a better football player as you are now?
Okay. So what? So what about being an athlete prior to your mission helped you on your mission, and also what on your mission is helping you as your athlete now? That's a question.
Is that it?
I can take it. I'll take it. I think the hard work and competitive nature of football kind of helped on the mission, because it really gets, I mean, I serve stateside. I don't know how taxing the foreign missions. I bet they're 10 times worse. But, you know, there's a physical aspect and a work ethic part of a mission that you have to live up to. And sometimes that can be hard. I think also about athletics that helped me was just like the team nature of the game, I would say. So out on the mission, you kind of feel like, man, I'm literally on my own. All I got is the white shirts around me with the tags. That's my family now, and that's kind of your team. So when you get those meetings with the missionaries, which future missionaries, you'll learn you'll have like district meetings, zone meetings, and like big zone conferences with the whole mission. And those are cool because it's like, that's your family right then and there. You guys are working all towards one purpose, and that's to bring others unto Christ. So that was a super cool aspect and helped a lot. And then I'd say for that second part of the question, one, I was talking to someone earlier how my mission actually blessed me like physically, which was pretty cool. I thought like I was able to mature more, grow more, which I might be unique in a way. I don't know how everyone else felt, but I felt like by serving those 2 years, I actually became a better athlete, was more prepped for college ball. And also, I think having a stronger foundation and testimony has been able to help me overcome certain obstacles in football nowadays, which I thought is pretty cool. Does anyone want to answer that as well?
Did you want us to?
Did you want anyone else? Or?
Just in general, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that was a great answer. Steve, is there anything from the chat?
Not yet.
Not yet. So kind of along with what he said, since you guys play football and then you go for 2 years, maybe Logan can answer this best, but are you able to do anything to keep up your skills?
Because I know when I was on my mission, there were people who had never exercised a day in their life, and other guys who really wanted to exercise, and it just doesn't work out all the time.
Yeah. I think, question is being in shape, if I'm able to stay in shape on the mission, that's kind of the question.
Anything you can do there.
Anything that we can do to stay in shape on the mission. For me, I mean, I think it's easier for those in stateside compared to foreign, but I mean, in the mornings you're always able to get 30 minutes to an hour, just depending on when you'll wake up. Usually I would get my companion and we'd wake up 30 minutes earlier just to add more time to our workouts so we can get prepared for the season, of course, when I get back. But you definitely have time every day in the mornings and even in the nights if you want to get in a quick workout. But for us in stateside, at least, and here in Washington where I was, we always had access to weights or treadmills or clubhouses or just running outside. So you kind of got a wide range of stuff of whatever you would like to do with you and your companion. So.
So, question for you guys. It was referenced earlier. Sometimes there's those really hard stretches. You talked about building up resilience. What is the advice you give for someone who's on their mission, they're having that hard time, what advice do you give to help them keep going and keep that positive attitude?
Yeah. Do I need to repeat that one? Repeat that? Yeah. So the question was, for those people who are going through a hard stretch on their mission right now, what would our advice be to them? I think just don't stop. I know it sounds simple and maybe dumb, but if really just focus on what you can do each day, focus on what's within your control, and just hold on, because no matter what happens, things are going to get better. I love Elder Holland's talks just because he talks a lot about that. Like, no matter how dark the night is, like, the light will come. So I would just say that, just hold on.
Can I add to that as well? I would say my advice would be, sometimes you just gotta be resilient, you just gotta stick it out. But one thing that helped me was something I learned from a companion I had in the mission, that, like, I realized some of the hardest times I had is when I wasn't unified with my companion, because it's really hard to have a bad time with somebody you love, you just feel good. All my good companions each day was, there were hard times, but we laughed, we joked, we had a good time doing the Lord's work together, and so it was easy to be around them. But if I was with somebody I didn't connect with, there was harder days, if somebody was having an off day. But I had one companion that we were like, I don't even know what was going on, but we were just off in the morning on, like, our morning jog. Maybe because he was a cross-country runner and I was mad that he was leaving me in the dirt. I don't know, something like that. But we got home, we were off, and we both knew it was off. We weren't really talking. We were getting ready, doing our studies. It was whatever. And then I got in the car to leave, and he was just sitting inside, and I was just still waiting. I was like, where is this guy? And then I walked back in. I'm like, what are we doing? He's like, I don't want to leave the house until we're on the same page. And I was like, oh. It was new to me because I wasn't used to just, like, talking about my feelings or, opening up. I just kind of, like, us being boys growing up, we just kind of, like, let it slide, and you're just friends the next day, Like, that's just how it works. But that's not how he functioned, and it really helped me to have a better experience in a hard time in my mission, to know that he knows what I'm feeling, I know what he's feeling, and now we can love and help each other. You kind of got to minister to each other while you're teaching people.
You got time for probably one more question. Okay, we can do both. We'll do both.
Let's start there.
What was your dream job?
Dream job.
Everyone can do it. What is your dream job?
Dream job. That's a hard question. NFL? Yeah, that's kind of like.
I don't know. For me, I think just owning my own business, being my own businessman, and doing my own thing, directing it all. I think that would be my dream. I think.
Yeah, that's a good dream. I've been all over the place. I wanted to be a dentist one time, orthodontist. I want to be a Call of Duty streamer right now. No, I don't know. I just want to do something to help people. Like, I don't know exactly what that is, but definitely something involving, like, some type of service for a person. But yeah, owning your own business is something I thought of, but I don't really know right now.
Yeah, my dream job would be anything. I don't know if I could, like, sit in the office, but anything helping someone. Like, I want to do anything medical that kind of keeps you on your toes, and you can help someone daily, so something like that.
I'd probably go with either an astronaut, space is pretty cool, or a chef, whipping it in the kitchen.
That's a good one.
Okay. I'm going to try and phrase this as best I can. But after going on a mission, what would you recommend to help someone prep to go on a mission? Like, that makes sense.
Good question. That's a good one. So after going on a mission, what would you advise someone to do to prep for a mission? Okay. I got you.
Okay. My advice would probably just be to actually read and pray about the Book of Mormon. At least that's what I needed to do in my situation. Is just gaining a knowledge and a testimony of the Book of Mormon and really understanding it and applying it to yourself, because that's your light. That's what's going to guide you. And if you have a fully or even just a partial understanding of the Book of Mormon and just knowing that it is true, then everything should fall into place of what you want to do in your life and what you want to achieve. So
I'll add to that as well. You're not gonna be ready. Like no matter what you want to like try to do, like that's just the reality of it. But I think that's like the best place to start is just like start developing that testimony, and then just the will and willingness to do it and do what it takes. I think developing that and just being ready to do the Lord's work, just being ready to hear Him and just do what's asked of you, I think is the biggest thing. But yeah, you're not going to be ready no matter what. So it's the truth. It's the truth. Yeah, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. But hey, no matter what, there's you can't do everything to prep yourself. So.
Okay. Anything else? Give these guys a hand. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, we appreciate everyone for coming and supporting. If you like this kind of thing, you want to other events, you guys can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook if you are into Facebook still. And we put a lot of this on YouTube. This will end up on YouTube, at least cuts of it if we cut it up. Some of the highlights on YouTube. We've got an event with the O-line. They're not as handsome as these guys, but we've got the O-line in May. We're doing a lunch with them. We're doing some different things. We really appreciate you guys coming out. He was laughing at me going throwing the O-line on, but yeah, we really appreciate. We appreciate you guys coming out. Appreciate it. Anything you guys can do down the road to share what we do, we appreciate it. Have a good night. Thank you.